health coach, and today we're going to be covering the topic of how exercise can sometimes be the very thing that is holding you back. All right, and I'm not talking about whether you don't exercise, but I'm talking about where exercise features in your life, and in terms of how it's featuring in your life. And I really wanted to help you get some clarity on whether over exercise is something that you are doing, whether you're unsure. If you are just starting out in your health journey and you think, all right, exercise has not been something that I've been consistent with, and so you start out with a hiss and a roar, I want to talk to you about what overtraining looks like. All right, if you are someone who has been exercising consistently for a long time, maybe you don't know what overtraining exactly looks like. All right, so today I want you to have some real clarity around that. When it comes to fat loss, if that is a goal for you, when it comes to exercising for fat loss, it's very crucial that you understand the role that your hormones play in that. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that today. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. For those of you who are watching live, welcome, and also for those of you who are watching the replay. So if you are joining us for the first time and you don't know me, my name's Taryn Thompson. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me real quick. I've been on my own health journey. I've lost 28 kilos, and so for the last 6 years I've really dedicated myself to helping other people achieve their ideal body. And I specialize in 2 areas. It's hormone health and health coaching. So that's just a little bit about me. And on a Monday to Thursday, I talk about lots of different topics, sometimes on the mindset, sometimes on strategies. And this morning is going to be a little bit about both, okay? Because when it comes to exercise, it really does depend. It really does help to have the right mindset about it, for sure. Okay, so first thing is that it's key to know that exercise is a stressor. Okay, now perhaps you haven't thought about that before, but actually when it comes to exercise, the purpose of it is to cause stress to the body. Now, perhaps you haven't thought that exercise's purpose has been to cause stress, but really that's what it is. It is a stressor to the body. And when it comes to fat burning, whether your goal is to burn fat or to not burn fat, everybody should be sugar burning sometime and fat burning sometime. That's just healthy. It's not healthy to be sugar burning all the time. Okay, so if health is the goal, then that should be your goal also. And when it comes to triggering the right hormones in order for your body to choose fat as its source of fuel, if you are producing inflammatory hormones too high or in excessive amounts or too frequently, then it will blunt growth and recovery hormones. Okay? Super important that you understand this concept. Now, I know that I'm not going to spend too much time going into depth with that, but one thing that you really do need to just trust me on is that if you are producing too many stress hormones, all right, inflammatory hormones, then your body will not fat burn. It will not choose fat burning hormones. It will not choose to burn fat because your body is producing too much stress hormone. Okay, so that's the thing. Now, sometimes we can be thinking, oh, I've got to get my exercise under control, or sometimes you can be thinking, look, I don't train hard enough, and so I've got to do more interval training, lift more weights, and we kind of get into this routine of thinking that we need more, that we need to push harder, that we need to do more, that we need to train more, that we need to get a trainer to help push us harder. And so this can kind of be the cycle that we can get stuck in. I'm not saying that it's not beneficial to think those things sometimes, but we can tend to get into a cycle of thinking more, when sometimes actually less is more. Okay, and when it comes to exercise, and the main purpose being that it is to stress the body, we have to think about what other stresses are going on for us at the time, and whether the stress that is caused by exercising is going to add to that stress and really just pushing those inflammatory hormones over the edge. Okay, and when you do that, you don't benefit from those hormones actually triggering fat burning hormones. So if you're one of those people that think, they have had experiences in the past or are currently having experience where you think, look, it doesn't matter how hard I exercise, I just can't seem to get my body fat down, then this really is for you. So if you're thinking, if you're having a day during the week, or if you've got big projects on, or if you've got lots of deadlines to meet, if you're going through one of those times, or perhaps your boss is putting quite a lot of pressure on you at the moment with whatever it is that you have to accomplish at work. Maybe you have, maybe you've got kids at home and they're still waking in the night, or maybe you're looking after sick kids and so you're not getting that full night's sleep. Plus you've got stresses at work that are going on, then high intensity exercise is just going to be too much of a stressor. Okay, it's just going to be one of those things that'll push you over the edge. Now, you may think, but I can handle it, and that may be true mentally, but physically, there is a difference between training and straining. Okay, and so you've got to make sure that you really understand the difference. So when we look at the ideal environment, what we want to be doing is looking at training at the right time, with the right intensity, and just the right kind of exercise as well, because when you do that, you feel good, you get healthier, you get stronger, you're learning from what you're doing, and that's the kind of environment that we want to create around exercise. The alternative environment is too much exercise, too much intensity, and as a result of that, you're straining. Therefore, you end up training less because you get injured, your body starts to shut down and then break down. Now, one of the things that some things that you can be aware of, that you can be looking for as to which camp you're in. Okay, so where the exercise is really taking its toll and whether those stress factors are just too high, is take a look at the way that you are recovering. Are you actually recovering well? All right. Do you find yourself having difficulty getting to sleep, or do you find that you have difficulty staying asleep? Do you wake up feeling exhausted, or do you wake up feeling like you've got energy? Do you sometimes have problems with your blood sugars during the day where you find that you're reaching out because you're craving, that you're finding it really difficult to stick to the meal plan that you are following? Do you find that the times in between your foods and between your meals are getting shorter and shorter, and you're trying to stick to the meal plan that you have been following, that you have set for yourself, and so it's causing you to reach out for those other foods that you shouldn't be having because it's going to sabotage your results. One of the things that can happen as a result is that your metabolism starts to slow down because your thyroid is it's tired. Your thyroid is what is responsible for producing hormones that control the metabolism. So if you notice that your metabolism is slowing down, that's something that you need to consider. Another one is where your sex hormones get disrupted, and the reason why this happens is that your cortisol, that stress hormone, has become a priority, not your sex hormones. Okay, so if you notice that your sex drive's gone down a little bit, or you're generally just not feeling that vibrant kind of feeling, your body is leaching those sex hormones to manufacture cortisol. Okay, so this can happen when stress is quite high. You might also notice that you feel, I'm not going to say depressed, but I can't really think of another word for it, but you might start to notice that you do kind of feel a little bit of a depression going on. If all these symptoms are there, then you really do need to evaluate how it is that you're exercising. And I really do speak from experience, you guys. I honestly am. Exercise was one of those things for me where I didn't have a very good relationship with it. I didn't enjoy it. I remember the very first time I set foot into a gym and I was so uncoordinated with my clothing. It was when I very first walked into Les Mills. I had no idea about Les Mills. It was a very, very long time ago. Les Mills was not, I don't think it was as big a deal as what it is now. Maybe it was because I knew nothing about gyms. But anyway, I walked into one. My shoes didn't match my singlet. I had on old tracksuit pants. It was just tragic. It was just tragic. And when I walked into the gym for the first time, I felt really uncomfortable, and there were these beautiful people all around me, and it was really awkward. And I vowed that I'd never step foot back into a gym again until I had some fancier workout gear. Anyway, who knows what was going on with my mind at that time. But as I started to get better, I started to love exercise. I went from hating it to feeling really awkward and uncomfortable to really enjoying it to really loving it. All right. And the fact that I actually loved exercise was something that I could not believe that I could ever love exercise. And so I started to set goals around exercise, and it started to become a very high priority area in my life. All right. It started to be one of those areas in my life where I wanted to excel in. All right. Where the way for example, the gym that I had joined, it was a very high performance gym. A lot of police, a lot of cops and army trained there. It was a lot of the special forces trained there, and so I felt real cool. I felt like, oh my gosh, I can keep up with these guys. I was training with the boys. I could lift really, really heavy weights, heavier than a lot of the boys, and I'm small, and I started to feel like, it started to make me feel like I was better and bigger, and it made me push harder and want to do more and more and more, and it really did become an addiction. And I trained to the point where my adrenals were actually very fatigued, and it was very stressful because although I knew what I knew, it just seemed like the rules just didn't apply to me. So I know that exercise can be one of those things that you really do get addicted to as a drug. Okay, it can be a drug. Now, when I think about what drives people to overtrain, sometimes one of the drivers can be to help you feel good about yourself. And I know that because that was a driver for me. So, when you exercise this way, really look at, what are you compensating for? And I know that may sound like something that may be a bit confronting, but I'm speaking from experience. It was one of those things for me that made me feel really good about myself. And so what are you compensating for? When a lot of the time what I found myself doing was if I didn't hit a measurement that I really wanted to, I think I would need to train more, right? Spend another hour at the end of a weight session doing cardio in order to get that next measurement. I would think that if I had fallen down during the week with my food, that I could make that up by training more. All right, so there's always some kind of compensation when you look at the behavior around exercise in this way. The thing is that in my mind I was thinking it's for my health, or I'm on a mission to get my ideal body. And so what happens is that when you train this way so high intensely, your body releases a lot of these endorphins and releases a lot of these chemicals that make you not feel the pain right there and then. Okay, and so you think, oh, yep, I'm all good. But the thing to realize is that the very chemicals that your body are producing to make you not feel pain then are the same chemicals that your body produces when you're running for your life from a saber-toothed tiger that's chasing you. Okay, so they're both stressor hormones. All right, so it's an important thing to know. Second thing is that intense exercise can give you a sense of having control over your body or your life. Right? Can give you a sense of having control over your body or your life. And one of the things that you should, one of the meanings that you should tie in with that way of thinking, if you are someone that thinks that way, is that exercise is not about harder and more. It's not about that. Harder and more can sometimes be what we need at the time, but don't get it hooked into that way of thinking, because exercise should give us more energy. It should help us with our range of movement rather than constrict us. You should be training, not straining. So sometimes it can just be a shift in the mindset. So what I want to do is I want to give you 3 things today that you can consider in terms of the way that you are training, and hopefully change your perspective on it so that you can maximize the results that you are getting. This is really what it takes if you are serious about your goal of moving forward in your health journey. It's also what it takes if you are serious about fat burning. Okay, if you want to get your body fat down, then you really do need to consider these 3 things. All right, so the ratio that you should be putting towards your training. So if you look at the 4 things, you've got resistance training, you've got interval training, number 2, number 3 would be active recovery, and the number 4 would be having fun. Okay, so in order of the amount of time that you should be putting towards those things, if you train between like up to 5 hours a week, then 3 of those hours should be resistance training. Okay, 3 of those hours should be resistance. 1 of those hours should be walking. So the rule is, look, if you dedicate time to doing resistance training, then as a default, you must spend time doing something in active recovery. Okay, so whether it be going for a walk or going for a swim or yoga or taking yourself for an hour through a stretch routine, I don't know what it is, but it's got to be something where you are actively recovering. You got to do both. Interval training's 30 minutes. All right, so if you're spending 5 hours training, 3 hours weights, or resistance training, 1 hour doing something active as an active recovery, 30 minutes doing interval training, and the rest of the time should be your time that you are doing something fun. Okay, if you are training for 10 to 15 hours a week, so if training is a super high priority for you and you are training for 10 to 15 hours a week, then 3 of those hours are still only resistance training. Okay, still only 3 hours needs to go to resistance training. The other hours, so the other 3 to 4 hours are going to go towards active recovery. So you might walk and you might take up swimming, you might take up yoga, whatever it is that you are doing, 3 to 4 hours goes to active recovery. 30 to 45 minutes max goes to interval training, and then the rest goes to fun. So that's the ratio. Okay, sometimes less is actually more. Putting consistent effort in is what's going to get you the result over the long run. So what you can do is you can do a bit of an assessment. Think about what are you actually doing this for. Think about whether you feel anxiety at the mention of skipping a workout because you need to recover. All right, if that is something that you feel, then you really do need to get on board this less is more bus. Just try it for a little while and see what happens, because when those stress hormones calm down, your body will then choose to fat burn, because you can't fat burn when those stress hormones are too high in the body. Think about what are your actual goals and why are you doing them. Think about how you feel. Are you in pain all of the time? Are you having problems with your sleep? Do you feel tired, hungry, or tired and wired? Are you getting results? Okay, so that's something that you can think about. Next thing is trust your body. All right, trust your body, listen to what it's telling you. And then the last thing is try something new. All right, just give it a go. Try something new. If you go to a gym and there are classes on and one of them is body balance or one of them is yoga or Pilates or something like that, then just try something new. If you've got a pool at your gym, go for a swim. All right, so just put yourself out there a little bit and try to develop a new way of thinking around exercise. When it comes to getting results, you really have to train smarter, and most of the time that is not always harder. So that's the message for today, guys. Look, if you want to get in touch with me, if you've got any questions that you want to run by me, just hop onto my website, generationhealth.co.nz. That's generationhealth.co.nz. Just search Taryn Thompson. Also, just want to give a shout out. If you are someone that likes to read the Health and Fitness magazine, check out New Zealand Health and Fitness, because there's an article that I wrote in there. Just giving myself a shout out. There's an article that I wrote on there that says, are your hormones inhibiting your fat loss? All right, so check out this month's issue of the New Zealand Health and Fitness magazine if that's something that you've been questioning. All right, that's it for today, guys. See you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Have a great day.